Hello, and thanks for checking out my video. My name is Jeff Rolka. I had a request about mask resonance and how to use it, how to get it, how to use it. So I'm going to show you how to do that and how you can practice it. Before I do though, thank you for checking my video. If you've chosen to subscribe, thank you. If you haven't yet, I'd like to encourage you to do so. I do live events every Saturday evening at 6 p.m. London time, and I would encourage you to come and check it out. It's a great way to ask questions and get answers, and it allows me to do live demonstrations too, so I can kind of interact with you in that way. And finally, these videos are open for fan funding, and any contribution, no matter how small, helps to keep the channel moving and growing and making more things like live events and videos and all that sort of stuff available to you. So if you've already done so, thank you. And if you haven't yet, I'd like to encourage you to consider doing so. So the mask, often talked about, not terribly difficult to get a hold of, but I think difficult to use the appropriate amounts. Appropriate amounts of it will vary depending upon what genre you are singing. It will also depend on how much it is necessary for you to be understood on stage, or if you have a large ensemble to cut through. Mask resonance enhances the EQ frequencies between 2000 and 5000 hertz. In classical music, that's called the singer's formant. And if I were to sing two examples, the first one without, and then this one with, you can hear quite a difference. I think I overdid it a little bit on that example, but it can help you to understand just how much brightness it adds. Now, you can go too far with this. No one wants to hear that. I'm reasonably certain. Maybe in some like really specific genres, you're going to use that much sinus activity. But it is a necessary component of our sound, and blending it well makes it much easier to hear us over a microphone or a band or whatever you happen to be singing along with. So how do you harness it? For starters, you can do the point exercise, which you'll see in bel canto circles quite frequently, and say, eh. And what you do to do that is you lift your tongue quite high in the rear of the mouth. It's blocking off air to the mouth, almost blocking. And you're putting all kinds of air and brightness into the top nasal pharynx and also the sinuses. Now, this is a gross exaggeration of what you would use, but it can really help you feel what it feels like to get those resonators active. When you get a feel for that, try the NG exercise, and you'll find this in a lot of my warm-up videos. I'll put a link on screen. And what this is where if you say the word hung, at the end of that word, your tongue lifts and it blocks off your mouth. Hung. And it shoots all the air past the nasal pharynx into your sinuses. And what you can do with this is you can use it like a vocalization. And I would recommend practicing it two ways. One is what I just showed you, where it's very far forward. You can hear the brightness in it. The next is further back. It will be very dull here. And what this will help you do is to feel the difference. Feel what it feels like to have all that air moving into the sinus passages up by the nasal pharynx. Feel what that space feels like. Feel what it feels like when you pull it out. Be consistent in how you practice. So if you are trying to be forward and you get mixed results, there you can hear it's bright at the beginning and it gets dull at the top. that is almost always an airflow case where you're not keeping enough air moving over the vocal fold to keep the front placement happening. The vocal folds are getting too muscularly engaged and it's dampening everything down. And you've got to lift a bit more, be a bit lighter on the vocal fold. That way, when you release it, you'll continue to get consistent results with your voice. It's very important that when you practice it, be it dull or bright, you keep the timbres consistent. You're learning the differences between the two and what the physical experiences of each of those positions are like in the oral cavity, which is the space in the top of the esophagus, mouth and nasal pharynx, and also the sinus cavities, which is all that subterranean space beneath your face and beneath your forehead. Utilizing that resonance in our performance is a really, really useful tool in so many different ways. Certainly, whether you're using a microphone or not, it will help you cut through a texture much better than if you don't have it. So if you sing with a band regularly, or even if there's just a couple guitars, like a couple acoustic guitars and somebody playing, I forget what that box is called, a cajon. You got somebody playing the cajon and you've got a couple acoustic guitars. Use some resonance there to give your voice a little bit of lift through the texture, right? It will make it easier for you to be heard, easier to be understood. It will help you to resist the urge to push, and we must resist that pushing urge. Because when we push is when we start getting vocal fatigue, we start getting intonation issues, resonance issues crop up, and it turns into this cyclical problem. So pushing, we want to step away from the pushing, right? If you are using a microphone, same rules apply. All right, that resonance will help you stand out in the mix without your mix engineer having to push your volume. If your mix engineer doesn't have to push your volume, you can get a better monitor feed. Better monitor feed means you hear yourself better on stage, means you don't push, right? So this is a very, very helpful tool to us, regardless of what your performance scenario is. So for starters, get that feeling of that brightness, then do some NG. Then release it. Get a sense for what that feels like and try to find a balance that satisfies your artistic desires and lets you convey your message to your audience. As always, I hope that helps. Thank you again for checking out the video. Do take really good care of your voices, enjoy singing, and hopefully we'll see you again.